Hey, welcome back. A Night at the Movies did not go as planned for an off-duty Dallas police officer. He carried his gun off-duty, as he always does, and somebody, an employee at the AMC 30 Theaters in Mesquite, saw the gun when the officer bent down to pick up a ticket he dropped. Asked him to leave. The officer's wife says he showed a security guard and manager his badge and offered to show his City of Dallas police ID. Still, they were told to leave. The theater has a policy against guns.
Mainly what the manager wanted was for my husband to leave unless he decided to relinquish his weapon back to the vehicle.
AMC has a sign telling customers that guns are prohibited. It says in a statement to us that off-duty officers are exempt if they show official identification. The company says employees properly enforced the policy. Dallas attorney, former police officer Pete Schulte is here to weigh in on this. So, did the officer do anything wrong, even if he knew that the company had a policy against carrying?
Absolutely not. The law in the state of Texas completely exempts peace officers, police officers, whether they're on duty or off, about carrying a weapon. These policies do not apply to police officers.
There are places where, for example, a concealed handgun holder cannot go, for example, a sporting event, a college campus, a place that is basically a bar.
Or church.
A church,
right,
if properly posted. Right.
Correct.
But that doesn't apply to police officers.
It doesn't apply to police officers. They're not evaluated based on the concealed handgun license laws. They're evaluated based on their status as a peace officer, regardless if, and the way the law reads is, regardless if they're executing an official duty or not, which means on or off duty. Right.
Now, the company later said, now here is, that's the law prohibiting handguns in a business or other entity. And there's something called the ironically, the 30-06 law, because somebody down at the legislature had a sense of humor. And that has to be posted in English and Spanish in order for it to be legally enforceable, but not with a police officer. Again, police is
correct.
Irrelevant to the police officer.
That is correct. I mean, the goal of the legislature is to let police officers, whether they're on duty or not, carry any time, because anytime a crime occurs in front of a police officer, they immediately become an on-duty police officer. So there's no laws that limit that. And it's funny, the 30-06 statute is not in the weapons section of the penal code. They put it in the criminal trespass because they wanted that 30-06 section number.
Right.
And the funny thing is about that is it's got to be placed in a conspicuous place, which means
if you hide it back in the entrance somewhere in a dark, unlit place, nobody's going to see it. It's not enforceable.
That's correct. And when I was a prosecutor in Dallas, I very seldom ever saw this Class A misdemeanor criminal trespass by a license holder. It just isn't enforced.
Now the officer, I guess, could have gone back to his, but this is a peace officer, should not be forced to give up his weapon in order to go see a movie.
Right, and I'm concerned a little bit about the AMC statement too, that he has to show an official ID. As a police officer, if I want to carry a gun anywhere, including a secured area of an airport, a bar, even if they have 51% or more of their sales by alcohol, which a concealed handgun license holder could not go into, I don't announce walking into the manager, hey, I'm an off-duty police officer, I have a gun. It just doesn't happen. So I think what happened in this case is the manager at the AMC, and these laws are confusing. Even for some lawyers, these laws are confusing. But he was told one thing, he thought he was right, and he went after a police officer, which he didn't realize this area of the law didn't apply.
Right. Now, again, getting to much more common, police officers have this right, concealed handgun license holders in the state of Texas, even if it's not posted, if the AMC, if a manager, somebody in charge of the building says, I'm not comfortable with you being here with a gun, you have to leave.
Yeah, because it's not then criminal trespass by license holders, just standard old criminal trespass.
Right.
If you're told to leave, a manager, and it's interesting how they've crafted that, because if you remember when the concealed handgun license laws were done, there was a big deal about whether business owners could prevent people from carrying a gun.
Right.
But they never codified it in the penal code statute under the weapons statute, so they did it in this conspicuous sign, but they ended up saying if somebody does tell you to leave and you don't, then it's a Class B misdemeanor instead of a Class A misdemeanor.
Right. It is, as you said, very, very confusing, but a police officer should have been allowed to carry.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You can tell it to Tim, 214-468-7447, or go to the Good Day page of myfoxdfw.com to send us an email.